Monday Night Raw this week begins with Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon introducing Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe comes out in a suit, but Foley is not too enthusiastic with his introduction of Samoa Joe. Gee, I wonder why. But nevertheless, Joe comes out anyway, and Stephanie McMahon basically gets upset at Mick Foley for not being all enthusiastic. Samoa Joe, you know, in a suit and all, looking all badass as usual, and Foley is like, look, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, and I would love to bring you in, but the way you were brought in is what I have a problem with. You know, him being associated with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon somehow. But Samoa Joe is like, look, it took me 18 years to get here, and there was one man that opened the door for me, and that was Triple H. And now Joe is labeled the Destroyer, and he basically put everybody on notice on Raw. He put the whole locker room on notice. Cue Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes down and says that he's the baddest man in the WWE in the roster, and this is his yard. What the fuck? His yard? Fuck that. So things, you know, not even giving out a hand. It's just a staring match at this point between Roman and freaking Samoa Joe. And Foley makes the match for later on in the night. Main event, Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Shit. Nia Jax versus Bayley. Now, again, this is how thin the women's roster is, because there shouldn't be wash, rinse, repeat as far as saying, okay, figure eights and circles around, okay, you beat her this week, and then 2 weeks later, you're facing her again, and then 2 weeks later, you're facing her again. They need to break that cycle, and they need more women on both rosters of Raw and SmackDown. But Nia Jax beats Bayley due to interference by Charlotte. Yeah, next week, it's going to be Bayley versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship. Well, for the Raw Women's Championship. And it's like, I can understand trying to hype that up, but having Nia Jax win, not even the cause of disqualification, that's just puzzling me. That puzzles me. I would think that Nia would win, or you know, Bayley would win by disqualification and have her get jumped. But for Nia to actually pick up the win, yeah, I'm just not. Nah. Speaking of that, speaking of me just not feeling it, Braun Strowman beats up 4 jobbers. Well, 3, because one just track meted and ran away. He missed and just ran. Damn. And of course he's like, Braun Strowman once again wants competition and says he's going to go find Foley. Well, he goes and finds Foley and basically demands everyone. So Foley actually grants him Roman Reigns at Fastlane. Feud and feud and feud like there's no tomorrow. I don't care about these two. I don't care about Roman Reigns. I don't care about Braun Strowman. Keep them out of the title picture, and that's it. That's just me. Maybe Braun Strowman can be something, but Roman Reigns, no. Just keep him out of the title picture as much as humanly fucking possible. I'm not sure if that can be done, but yeah. So, you get Cruiserweight action. Drew Gulak versus Akira Tozawa. Okay. International superstar. You know. And it was a pretty good showcase by Tozawa, because that's basically what this was. And he actually won the match. And they hype up his very fast German suplex, which was really fast. And I gotta say that, yeah, it put Drew Gulak down, and he stayed down. So, yeah. But after the match was pretty interesting, because Brian Kendrick comes down and he just basically shakes his hand and leaves. No confrontation, hardly any words, nothing. Brian Kendrick was just there for acknowledgement, I guess. Like, yeah, welcome, or you're going to have to deal with me sooner or later, and just leaves. Owens and Jericho. Oh, God. These two are gold. They just are. I want someone to say otherwise. But they come to the ring, and Jericho has a problem with someone else being labeled the greatest of all time, the GOAT. Basically, that's Jericho's thing. So, what does he do? He puts that very person, Tom Brady, on the list. Oh, that Super Bowl. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to give my opinions on that. But Jericho pitches the idea of a Universal Championship match between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho for WrestleMania. Cue Goldberg. Goldberg goes into the ring. This isn't the Kevin Owens show, like propped or anything like that. It was just a segment. Goldberg hits the ring, accepts the challenge of accept the challenges of Brock Lesnar, and Kevin Owens was like, yeah, that's a great undercard for KO Mania. And he's like, you want to know why I'm the longest Universal Champion in history? And Goldberg's like, yeah, because you haven't faced me. So, you got an open schedule for Fastlane, so why don't you and me? And Jericho's like, who are you to make matches? You know what happens? You know what happens? Goldberg grabs the list and the pen and puts himself on the list. Guess what? WWE Universe? Goldberg just made the list. Jericho gets pissed. He's like, you don't do that. I do that. You don't put yourself on the list. That's my thing. I put people on the list. Kind of funny. But then Jericho is like, you want a match? You want a match at Fastlane? You got a match at Fastlane. It will be Kevin Owens versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship. How about that? Of course, Kevin Owens is not happy about that. Owens is pissed backstage. And he's like, look, you making a match like that, I thought you had my back. No, you don't have my back. You know, you're going to let that maniac get a title shot? No, you don't have my back. Goodness. I understand that they're trying to stir the pot again between these two, but they need to go ahead and just either dissipate or just hurry it up. My prediction is that they will cross at WrestleMania, but maybe it'll be for the United States Championship. Or, I don't know. It's just, damn. Goldberg versus Kevin Owens for the Universal title at Fastlane. Sheamus and Cesaro gets their tag team rematch against Anderson and Gallows. And Enzo and Cass are at ringside. They're not doing commentary. They're just sitting out there. So throughout this tag team match, of course, you know something is going to happen. We're not fucking stupid. Because Enzo and Cass were going to face the winners of that match. Oh, the winners of the match by DQ ended up being Anderson and Gallows. Because Gallows went outside of the ring and kicked Enzo while he was sitting there. And what does Cass do? He kicks motherfucking Gallows back. Referee sees it. Ding, 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 ding. And that's it. So basically that totally thwarts Cesaro and Sheamus for getting the tag team championships back, which I didn't want to happen anyway. I think it's Anderson and Gallows' time to shine with the belts for a while. That at least until WrestleMania. I don't see them dropping them at Fastlane. That would be ridiculous. But this is WWE we're talking about here. The New Day versus the Shining Stars. Yeah, they were making jokes about ice cream on the way to the ring and pouring cereal down people's throat and stuff like that. But the Shining Stars, did anyone take this seriously? If you watched this, did you take the Shining Stars seriously? I don't take them seriously. Epico and Primo, didn't take them seriously. Los Matadores, didn't take them seriously. Carlito should just come back and have all three of them together with the Freebird rule. Why not? But the Shining Stars, I just don't take them seriously. And the New Day wins, fine. Just fine. Yeah. Basically, yeah, get rid of the Shining Stars. Please. They're just not worth it. The tag team divisions on both shows are just... ugh. So, Kevin Owens approaches Chris Jericho and says that Jericho is right. He has his back. No matter what obstacles been thrown in front of him, Jericho has always had his back, and the Universal Championship has always been retained. Which is true, but yeah. Rock and Roll Express to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to that. And for any of you that will question that, these guys have been in multiple fucking organizations, being the top tag team in almost all of them, and winning titles and being known for their tag team wrestling. They're the Rock and Roll Express. Please know your history. Please check them out. They had the chemistry. Who do you think the Rockers were trying to be like? So, you had Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Yeah, see, they had 2 fucking title matches tonight on Raw, which is okay. And Kevin Owens had Jericho's back. He did. And that's what actually costed Zayn the match. Even though that Jericho had him in the walls and Sami Zayn got to the ropes and the referee broke it up and stuff like that, Kevin Owens hit Sami Zayn with a kick to the head. Code breaker later. Poor Sami. Is he going to get a WrestleMania moment? I would love Sami Zayn to get a WrestleMania moment. For a championship, but I don't see that happening. I just don't. It's just pathetic, really. What, is he going to be in an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and just get tossed out? But anyway, Jericho retains his United States Championship. So, basically you had a cruiserweight breakdown when Austin Aries was trying to interview Neville. And he, of course, there's going to be a fatal 5-way to decide the new #1 contender on 205 Live. And it's like, Neville's like, doesn't care who wins that match. They're going to bow to the king. They're going to take a knee to the king. And then, next thing you know, who comes out? Cedric Alexander comes out. Noam Dar comes out. Tony and Jack Gallagher. You see where this is going. So all 5 of them come to the ring and actually fucking, just to make their presence known. And Austin Aries, you know, he's the one that's giving an interview and he lost control of it, whatever. But it's just that, okay, you know this is, and next thing you know, attack, breakdown, instant 6-man tag. Which the faces actually fucking win because Neville takes a hike at the end of the match. Leaving Tony Nese and Noam Dar high and dry. Which was fucked up, but altogether funny. It just was. So next week is going to be a festival of friendship for Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. How much you want to bet that Goldberg is going to be there and spear them both or something like that? That's just my prediction of that. So you have Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. And I was praying to God that somehow, some way Roman Reigns didn't win this match. But before even Roman Reigns gets to the ring, Samoa Joe from behind, he didn't even get an entrance. He just starts beating Roman Reigns down. Which is, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, beat that fucker down. But Roman Reigns tried to do his magically delicious Lucky Charms comeback, which almost fucking worked. It did, until Braun Strowman came out. Braun Strowman, yes, cost Roman Reigns the match. Fine. I'm totally fine with that. Like I said before, keep that feud going for at least 6 fucking months because we don't care about either. We don't care about Braun Strowman. We don't care about Reigns. We just don't. But after the match, you get Roman Reigns was basically power slammed. Strowman drew the steel steps into him. And then he power slammed Roman Reigns through the fucking barricade outside of the ring. Ends the show that way. So this Raw was kind of, you know, tried to do some hype for next week because we're going to have a Women's Championship match. And for Fastlane because they set up a couple of matches. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of meh. Wasn't all that great. Wasn't terrible, but it still wasn't all that great. At least we got to see Samoa Joe in the main event of that night. And he actually fucking wins. And Seth Rollins is injured. which sucks. And they gave a little update. Yeah, but they're saying that he's going to come back and he's going to slay the king, because that's the only way he can get through this now, is to get Triple H. Well, you've been after Triple H for months, and you didn't even fucking touch him, and you got injured. Some people are trying to slam Samoa Joe for, you know, the injury, saying that Samoa Joe should be either out of WWE or go back down to NXT, and it's like, wait a second, don't you remember Seth Rollins injuring a couple of people, and including himself? Something to think about. Drop kicks, body slams, throwing motherfuckers over top rope, both feet hitting the floor. Yes, I'm a wrestling fan. This is the theme, and I'll see you later. Credits.